Tech for Senior Live, we're here. Whoopee! Is everyone awake?
I think so.
That was certainly rousing music. So welcome, everybody. So listen, out in the audience, if you're listening, welcome and thank you for coming and thank you for listening. We certainly do appreciate it. If you can put your put your name and your where you're from and let us know what the weather is. If you have any questions, please put them in there. We will be happy to answer them. We have a great show for you today. Lots of interesting things to talk about. And of course, Bill James is here. The gadget guy. Yay. And what's your dog's name?
This is Frankie Cooper.
Frankie Cooper. Bill and Frankie Cooper is here. Yes.
He decided that he was going to join us.
There you go.
Uninvited.
We're happy to have you. Yeah, so that's great. So we're going to have a great show. As for those of you maybe who are new listening and don't understand what this is all about, we have a show on Monday called Tech for Senior. This is we've been broadcasting it almost for 2 years. We're having our 100th show this Monday, and it is a Zoom broadcast streamed to YouTube. So if you want to come and have a chat, we're the same gang, but we have more of a structured show, and we have all sorts of contributors. Bill, of course, is one of them, and Bob and Huey, and we all have a lot of fun on the Monday show. So today's show is one in which we go over the news and look at the news in the past, and we talk about gadgets, drink some coffee, and just sort of have a relaxed, good time, and talk to a lot of our friends, which of course are you. You are the people listening to us, are the glue that makes this, the secret sauce that makes this all work. So we're so happy that you are there and you're listening. Now we also, starting this last month, we have a podcast now. So this show, not the Monday show, will be on our will be podcasted out, and so we have this as a podcast. So you can listen to it in the car or wherever you are as well. Now, this is being broadcast on StreamYard, and it goes to Facebook and YouTube. So if you are over on our Zoom meeting, you'll be there till next Monday because nobody's there. So it's not a Zoom meeting. This isn't a Zoom meeting. You have to go to either our YouTube channel or our Facebook. And if you're having trouble finding that, we have a button on our website. You just go to our website and click on that button, and it'll take you right to our YouTube channel. Or go to our Facebook page. Our Facebook page, of course, is where we post all the news items that we broadcast, that we talk about each week. I know that all of us are busy posting every day. I don't know how many we never get through them all for the week because we got so many, but we post all the articles that we're interested in. And there's some really good ones today. There's some really interesting stuff I want to talk about. But let's cut that for a minute and let me introduce everybody. I'd like to introduce, let's go around the table. So Alexis is talking to me. I guess we should go again. We'll go, this is really, we're really talking about across Canada and the United States. So I guess if we go as far east as possible, where we can dip our toe in the Atlantic Ocean, I guess it would be Huey, right? Have you been dipping your toe in the water lately?
Not really, because it's been cold, but today for a change, it's nice. And I'm only a couple of miles from the Gulf of Mexico, so I'm on the other side of Florida from the ocean, but I'm in Florida. Mm-hmm. And it's 78 here today, and it's going up to 82. So we're back to Florida weather. We've had a couple of weeks of some days where it was some nights where it was in the 40s, and during the day it only got up into the 60s. So we had the heat on, but air conditioning time is back again, and we got the air on. So one day in the morning I had the heat on, in the afternoon I had the air conditioning on. But
there you go.
It's Florida in February.
Yeah, I haven't got my air conditioning going, I'll tell you that. And I guess as we move across west, I guess the next person would be Oklahoma, right, Bill? Oklahoma is before Los Lunas, New Mexico. So tell us, of course, Bill James is here, and Bill is from Oklahoma. So how are things there?
It's fine, but I'm just amazed that Huey said that it got 60 degrees and he turned the heat on. I think that's I don't turn the heat on. That's almost time to turn the air conditioning on. I think because normally I keep my house about between 68 and 70 and that's warm for me. But today we have 27 degrees.
Ooh,
or 26 actually, and it's
I don't think my refrigerator's that cold.
So, but yeah, it's been exciting times around my house. There's been a lot of new software that popped up this week that I've been playing with.
Yeah. Good. Well, we're going to talk about it. I don't want you. Don't give away our secrets yet.
Oh yeah, I won't.
All right.
And I've got one I've been keeping from you too.
Yeah. Okay. So we got lots of secrets, and of course, then we have Bob Gustacia. Bob, of course, is from Los Lunas, New Mexico. Bob, of course, is a regular. In fact, Bob, we're doing a sort of a special edition of our show on Monday, and Bob, Huey, and I, of course, were started the first show on Tech for Senior, and Bob, you're there. I've got you for the very first edition. Got us talking away. So Bob's been with us right from the start. Thanks so much, Bob. And Bob, how are things? Did the snow go away yet in Los Lunas? Or what?
No, we have new snow. The mountains are
What?
white. And a little north of us, there's snow. It did not make it to Albuquerque, and it didn't make it to Los Lunas, except the mountains. The mountains are now white again. And I was so happy this morning to say, hey, we finally have no snow on the ground. Well, and that's when I looked east and I said, oh, yes, we do.
And Bob is as clear as a button because he has his new camera that he's going to tell us all about, I'm sure, today. And I'm still struggling with my color balance and trying to get my image correct. And of course, Bob has it all done so well. Thanks, Bob. And I'm sure you're going to tell us about your camera today. And then, of course, so then we keep going west. And we come to the West Coast, and we don't stop there. We have to take a ferry and go over to an island. We have to go up to Canada, and then you come to Vancouver, and then you have to get on a ferry and take a ferry for an hour and a half to this island, and then you have to drive up the island for an hour and a half, and you'll finally come to where I live, which is in Comox, British Columbia. So yes, so that's where I am. It's 39 degrees today, 39 degrees, and it's supposed to be a sunny day, so it should be nice. We have mountains here, and we have ski hills, which of course are still busy, but we don't have any snow down where I live on the water here. We keep it nice and warm, so we don't really have snow problems. So that's the four guys. That's our group here today, and the interesting thing about it is that we're all together in this meeting, but we're all across two countries, right? It's sort of interesting how it all works out. Anyway, Huey, have we got any comments? Do we have anybody?
Quite a few telling us what their weathers are.
All right, Steve from Kirkland, 42 degrees. Maureen from Victoria, 6 degrees centigrade, cloudy and sunny breaks. Yep. Stan is from Orlando. Hello. Carl from Wellsboro, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, yeah. 45 degrees, right? Bob Baxter, Bellevue. Lots of people from the West Coast, 44, yeah. Gerald Smith, 41 and overcast, yeah. George in Victoria. Clark Walker, Trenton, New Jersey, 61 degrees. Oh, that's not bad. Last Friday morning, it was not. Ooh, that's a bit cool. Yeah. Jeannie
I moved out of New York to get away from the cold weather. And guess what? It's 61 degrees in New Jersey. It's also 61 in New York.
Oh, really?
And I'm at 33.
There you go. Global warming, Bob. It's called global warming.
Not here.
Central Florida will be in the 80s today,
Yep.
Jeannie says. And Richard says it's 55 now, but we'll go to 74.
Just all over the place.
Yeah, all over the place. Yes, indeed. Well, listen, so welcome everyone. And so that's it as far as comments so far, Huey. If you have any questions, we're going to sit and yak for a while and talk about life in general. I have a few, I have some gadgets to show you guys, and I thought I'd just do that. But Bill, you're the star today. You're the gadget guy. Tell us about your new camera. Bill,
oh yeah,
Bill has a new camera. This is cool. Tell us about it, because I think didn't DJI just release this? Is this a new product?
Yeah, this was one that I wrote about early on in one of the gadget articles that appeared in the newsletter. And so I noticed the other day that it was on sale. Not a great sale, but it was enough to tempt me to go ahead and purchase it. And so it's rather interesting because it's modular and everything is connected by magnets.
Oh.
So like the top part, this is actually the camera part of the device.
Right.
And then below this, I got the one that has the two displays.
Right.
So it has another display where I can, which is a touch screen where I can control the camera. And then I also bought a selfie stick that's also works as a tripod, but then I can pull it apart and it becomes a selfie stick, which it's a rod. And then additional to that, it has a remote control, which I can take off.
Oh, I see. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, the neat thing about it is that there's a lot of mounting possibilities. There is a lanyard that has another magnetic device that goes on the bottom of this. And you put the lanyard down your shirt, and then you clip this on the front, like so. It'd be like a.
I had one that I used. I had a camera that when I was doing video mystery shopping, looked like a button, so they couldn't recognize it. And it was right in the center of my shirt, which is what you're showing there. That it would be, it would definitely be visible.
Yeah, this is more obvious.
But it would work that way nicely on the front of your shirt. Yeah.
So it has a lot of possibilities. Some of the complaints, which I probably should have done a little bit more research, but they really do not affect me, is that as compared to the previous model, there was a protective cover over the lens. On this one, it's exposed, as you can see. There's a lot of conversation about this being damaged, and it's not replaceable unless it is sent back to the factory to replace. So I did get the what they call the refresh package that DJI has. So if something happens to it, I'll be able to get it replaced at a nominal cost. But this, I think, is probably.
Sorry, I'm just trying to get us Bill spotlighted here.
I think they can all see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
But but I used it for the first time. There was a little bit of a learning curve, but YouTube really helps you because the only instructions that I got was just a little. There was no instructions in the box for the camera itself. There was one for the stick, but the print was so small I couldn't read it.
Right.
So anyway, I got on YouTube, and there was a guy that did a tutorial, and I was up and running in no time.
Well, that's the same. I told you guys earlier. This is my my DJI, and of course, it's got the gimbaled head on it, and this is the Pocket 2, which is a little bit different than yours, and again, I use the video. I use the videos all the time. This is sort of technologically complicated. It's not that easy to use. You need to practice, and you got to watch the video a few times to get it, to figure it all out. But DJI does make some interesting stuff.
They really do.
I have the original. I have the original DJI.
Oh, do you? Oh, cool.
Yep. So I've had mine for a long time.
Yeah.
Really haven't used it a lot. I did some walks in the park with it, but it's ridden on the Wise vacuum. Everybody saw that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Right.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I used to take the ride around on the Wise.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Now that camera's not gimbal though, is it, Bob?
No. This just has a stick on it. No gimbal.
Right.
But it's pretty good when it comes to steadying the video itself, even without the gimbal. Not as good as with a gimbal, but still, it's pretty darn good.
Yeah, these have what's called a built-in stability
Stabilizer,
which is software driven, and regardless of where you hold it, it's always going to be in an upright position.
Right.
And the new ones, I think there are several different settings. Depends on the resolution that you're shooting at that you can use. One is called Steady, and Rock Solid, I think, is another one. And then there's
I see. They've changed it. So really, the camera, the software gimbals, instead of the actual camera moving, the head moving like mine is, the internal part of the camera moves to hold it steady. Is that the idea?
Right. There's software. It's done through software.
Oh, that would make it simpler, because mine is complicated. Like this Pocket 2 is not that easy. Maybe I'm not that bright, but I mean it's more complicated than, so that's interesting.
Well, there is a learning curve, is there's a bunch of settings, and the other thing that's really troubling is that I'm going to turn this on. Maybe you can see.
Ron, just for some of the people in the audience, can you explain what a gimbal is?
Oh, a gimbal is simply where the camera moves. In other words, if you look at my watch my camera here, if you watch the head of my camera here, watch as I turn this on now. See how it moves? See how it turns, and if I turn it off, the head of the camera will you'll see how it turns. And so the camera, that head actually, as you're walking, will move and turn to keep you perfectly level, right?
Level, right. And this is done through software.
Right.
The other one's called Horizon. That's the one. So it'll keep it always straight. But the thing that's really difficult, I don't think if you can see that, but it has these really small buttons on the touch screen, which are little fingers. You have to kind of mentally think small. As I told people when I was first started learning to use the touch screen on my smartphone, I have to kind of put my brain at the tip of my finger so that when I'm touching the right spot.
All right. Bob, now tell us about your new so Bill, is that okay? I want to get Bob and Huey.
Sure.
I'd like to
get a few comments and questions here. Let me bring them up.
I'm more interested in the selfie stick. I have a cell phone. I use it as a camera. I like the fact it has a remote, does selfie stick. Yes. A lot of the cameras will have this all inside them as well. I purchased a full, Mike says, I purchased a full 3-axle stabilized cell phone holder. It takes all the shakiness out of the visits. Right. I have DJI actually makes. Just hold on a sec here. They actually make a cell phone. This is a device that I'm not going to unfold it, but your camera fits in here, and then this sort of comes up, and it actually is a gimbaled device, and this is made by DJI as well. And so this is where you can actually use this as a device for your phone. But there are other companies that make them. I'm not sure if that's the one Mike has. That's also made by DJI.
Yeah, I have one I got from Hoheim, Hoeim, or something like that. And I think it was about $35. It only has one axis, but it is a gimbal, and it does have a remote, so I can operate the phone in the slot on the gimbal. So you can get them at all different kinds of pricing.
Yeah.
To answer Richard's question, just do a simple search. There are so many selfie sticks out there.
Right.
Find one that fits your need, but there are lots of them out there in all different price ranges.
Mike's looks just like yours, Ron. Yeah, Mike probably is. If it's made by DJI, it is the same one. And now, so Bob, tell us about your new camera. That's so
that is the new camera,
right?
And it's more advanced than the one that I had, the C920. Which, by the way, is an excellent camera when you consider how much it costs.
Right.
Okay. And I'm not getting rid of it. I have 2 C920 cameras. I also have more than one computer. So, okay. But this one here, number one, it has a remote control. So I can zoom in and I can zoom out, which is not something that you can normally do very easily. Yeah, I have a couple of phone calls that insist on coming every morning, and it takes a second for them to shut it off because it's spam. So I can zoom in, I can zoom out, I can go right, I can go left, and all of that through a remote control.
What's the name of the camera, Bob?
It's called NEXIGO, Nexigo.
Nexigo, okay.
And it was $99.99 or 95 cents.
Is that from Amazon?
Available on Amazon?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And it looks like a Logitech.
No, it's not a Logitech. It also has built-in stereo mic. I happen to like the mic that I have next to me. That gives me the best sound, but it does have surround sound with it. So many options.
But what I was saying, Bob, I said it appears, the appearance is, it looks like a Logitech.
It's actually wider than a Logitech. Yes. Which gives you a better sound separation.
Yeah. Ron, does the one you just showed allow for both vertical and horizontal? Yes, it does vertical and horizontal modes. Richard says, Mike says, Richard, Ron and mine are stabilized so to keep the phone level, horizontal and vertically. Right. Yeah. So Richard says, I have 2 of the C920s.
Yeah,
right.
So do I.
Yeah. I have. Yeah. And my holder comes with a remote. Yeah, I didn't get a remote with mine. At least I don't think I did. Mike says, and the app put on your phone, right? Especially if it controls it, right? Mike, thanks for the info. That's good. Yeah. Now, Huey, did you have something you wanted to show us? Where did Huey go?
I gotta go for a minute.
Okay. All right. Let me show what I've got for you. I wanted to show everybody this. Now I'm just going to change my camera for a minute. Just let me just change my camera, and we'll come down to this. And this is my this is my camera. And of course, you can see, if you look up on the right-hand corner, you'll see my new Logi light. Okay. And this is, and I'm just going to play you a little video on this. And this is, I just got this, and we talked about this before. Sort of a cool product made by Logitech. And I'm just going to play this. And this is, this shows it's called the Litra Go. It connects, it's a light, of course, for your, and you have, it's got TrueSoft technology. It sits there, and it sits on top of your monitor. You can leave it on all day. It has a whole bunch of software that controls the lights, or you can manually make it brighter or dimmer manually on the back there. You can adjust it for your, and it sits on top of your desk, and that's called, and it's called a Litrigo, and that's there it is. It's sitting on top of my monitor now. As you're looking from behind me, that's what my Logitech. That's my Logitech 920 behind, shooting forward, and so that shows the yeah. And so let me just bring my other camera back now. And so that's called the, yeah. So that was the that's the so that was interesting. I'm not sure what the cost. I think is around $70, and Logitech just brought these out. And now the only disadvantage to it is that it's powered USB. That's the only way. So if you were going to take it and use it away from your computer, you'd have to plug it into a some sort of battery bank or something like that, because it doesn't have. I guess you could plug it into a USB 110 converter. You could plug it in that way and get some power. But that's the only other thing. But other than that, it's sort of an interesting light. There's lots of ring lights around, but this isn't a ring light, and it just clips on there, and it's sort of cool. I mean, it's I think it's a great idea. It connects with your camera. So if you have a Logitech camera, the software sort of connects with it and helps you balance the color and so on and so forth. So it's sort of cool.
Well, they say that lighting is everything on your videos.
Yeah.
And that's something I really need to invest in.
Of course, my light, which is a ring light, that was only $20.
Right.
And I think it does a fairly good job.
Does a good job, Bob. Yeah, that's great. I'm not saying that this is something you should go out and buy. It's interesting. The software works quite well.
Yeah.
And it's I don't think it was I can't remember what, you can look it up online and see what it costs, but it's not that expensive. All right. I think we should probably do some work now, eh? We should probably do some reviews. There's lots of interesting articles to talk about. I'm going to share my screen, and we will see if we can get the up.
Which means it's time for me to switch over to Facebook.
Right. So for those
page.
of you who are watching, if you want to just go over to our Facebook page, you can see all the articles we're going to talk about. We have posted them there, and we're going to sort of go through them now, and we're going to talk about the articles and what they are. Let me just come down. Let's come down, and first one is, we'll come back. Huey isn't back yet. I'll leave. We'll come back to Huey's in a minute. This, of course, was the one. I'm not going to talk about this article because this is on the Logitech Brio. If you're listening to our podcast, we just showed a video on this, and this is the Litra Glow Light, and this is available now as part of Logitech's cameras. They have a suite of lights out now, which is sort of interesting. This is a very interesting. I'm not going to show. Actually, I'm going to do that. Hold on a sec. No, because I have to switch things around. Maybe at the end I'll show this. This is a. I wanted to ask you guys: have you ever cleaned the ports out, or the connecting ports on your devices? This is a tool. It's a Kickstarter, and it's a device that you use for cleaning out Type-C ports or the connections of Type-C when you're putting it in and out, or USB. It's the connections get fuzz and dirt and all sorts of stuff in there. And have you guys ever cleaned them out? This is a device, and it's a new device that's started with Kickstarter. It's not in production yet. And I was wondering if you guys have ever cleaned. I've never cleaned mine. Have you guys ever cleaned those?
No.
I've blown into it to blow the dust out and so on, but other than that, no. But this, as I recall looking at this, I think this is just for the iPhone, although they may have ones for other phones. I don't know. But
there's another version of this that I've seen that I will probably show. It's not the same. It's different, that someone else has put out.
Yeah, and this is specifically for iPhones and iPads.
And the one I saw was one for USB-C and a couple other.
It's got little tools on it. It'll go in a little brush and something else. It'll clean out the inside of your Your,
I right now have an appointment with You Break, I Fix, because I guess I broke and they need to fix the charging port on my my phone, not the new one, the Pixel 5.
Right.
Because I have a dickens of a time trying to get that thing charged. I have to try several different times until it finally catches. So, yep.
Yeah, my Microsoft Surface 3, which is very old, but it's still a good computer. I can't plug in the into the port that'll make it an HDMI port. And when I took it to the Microsoft store, and this was a year or so ago, or 2 years ago, it was before COVID, they said they can't fix it anymore. The parts aren't available. They can't replace it. And so they told me to go out and buy a docking station to do what I needed to do. So I have to plug a docking station into the unit. So I have to carry this big piece of equipment around with me as well. But if I had had one of these tools that would work on that particular port, I could have at least cleaned it out and probably straightened it out.
Right. Interesting. I never really thought much about it, but I thought that's interesting. We haven't really ever talked about cleaning out ports or cleaning that. You're right. Lint, particularly with phones, they're sitting in people's pockets. They get full of lint, and, maybe it's something that we should talk about. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah. A lot of devices have covers for those, but the covers are held together with just a little piece of plastic, and so that sooner or later breaks off and the cover is gone, so you don't have the protection to keep the dust out.
Right.
There are alternatives. You can purchase covers for them.
Yeah.
Huey, we actually started. You got the award this week. You had the first article, and we skipped over it because you weren't here. So I went back. Now it's 18 items under $50. You got the first article. Did you want to say anything about that?
There's just some neat little devices and desktop things and little lights and little gadgets that can go on your desk to make things a little bit easier to organize things on your desk. Okay. And they're all under $50. So
it's a good article to read if you have some.
Yeah, and when you click on the item, it takes you to Amazon where you can order them.
Yay, Amazon! All right, let's come down. Oh, all right. So I put this article. I don't want to belabor the point, but 5 Gmail alternatives that aren't Outlook. This was an interesting article this morning. And if for whatever reason you don't want to use Gmail, and there may be some reasons, then this talks about 5 alternatives such as Proton Mail, and what was the other one? It was there was Proton Mail, Zoho Mail, and Proton. I think those were the 2.
I know Mike Ungerman uses the Proton Mail.
Yep. Yeah,
he really likes it.
Yeah. Now again, you're leaving the free version and you're going into, of course, the paid version. But yeah, I mean, there are alternatives there against free Gmail. I thought I would just put this article up there. So if for whatever reason you want to look at an alternative, then that's certainly possible. Now, this is an interesting article, and I wanted just to talk a bit. There's some other scenarios coming up.
What does the article say, Ron?
The article says this is our first look at Pixel phones display mirroring on Chromebooks. All right. And this brings up a number of, so what exactly this does is it allows you to mirror your Android app on your Chromebook. Now, you're going to say to me, well, Ron, Chromebooks run Android apps. Why would you want to take a Pixel phone and mirror an Android app onto your Chromebook? And that's a good question. And the answer to that is certainly the answer to that is that not all Android apps work on Chromebooks. And that is, and it used to be that when you went to the Play Store and you would go down and look at the different apps that are on there, you would download them and some would work and some wouldn't on your Chromebook. Now what happens on the Android Play Store when you log in with your Chromebook, you just don't see those. So the ones that you see will work, but you don't see a lot of the apps. So it may be that you use an app on your phone, an Android app, and most of the reasons why it won't work on a Chromebook is formatting, because it doesn't format to full screen. Normally, it just formats to the size of the phone. So what's happening here is that for people who have specific applications, mission critical applications they're using, you're now going to be able to display them in a virtual window on your Chromebook right from your phone. And I think that's an interesting idea. We'll see some articles later today we can talk about where Microsoft is going to allow you to play Android apps on your PC. So there's some twists to this coming on, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to discuss this. Now, this is just out, and you can do this now with your Pixel phone. It's not available for all phones, but I thought that was interesting. Now, I know Hugh and I do a class called Learning Chromebooks. We do that once a month. I know Bill James has taught a lot about Chromebooks. Bob has a Chromebook. What do you guys think of this? Do you think this is interesting, or did you see the article?
I saw the article, but it depends on the app whether or not it's better to do it on the Chromebook than on the phone.
Right.
I have a app on my Chromebook where I can mirror my Samsung phone. It will connect to it, and I can pull up the apps similar to the one that's in the Microsoft Windows 11, where it's called Your Phone.
Right.
And I can pull up those. So yes, and you will have occasion to use those.
Mm-hmm. So it's interesting because this is just going to get better and better as we go along here, isn't it? So
exactly, everything is coming very cross-platform.
It is. It really, really is. Huey, do you have any comments on that, or?
No, but there's some comments out here that we need to catch up on. Let's see. Okay.
JJ says, I have an OBS bot webcam that follows you in Zooms. Correct. Richard says, I have an external battery that accepts USB and Type-C. Yep, there's lots of those around. Jolin says, I had to go out, just heading home. Sorry, I missed most of it. We'll watch it later. Havana, hi from Argyle, Texas. Temperature 37. Wind chill is, 26 degrees. It dropped. Mike says, I've used Proton Mail for over a year. I paid for a premium account, worth it for the additional capabilities such as multiple folders, labels, cloud storage, calendar, premium VPN services. Yeah, there's certainly an opportunity to do that. I was given a Chromebook, which I have. Richard says, I was given a Chromebook, which I haven't tried it to get it set up yet. I don't know what model it is or about it. I have to turn it on and try it and get it set up. It's easy to do. Simple, very, very, very simple to do. Yeah, so interesting. So let's go down and see what's Bob, you have the next article?
And it has to do with earbuds that do some of the functions that a bone induction headphone will do. Not everything, because it is not bone induction. They are still earbuds, and they need your ears in order for you to hear. Where bone induction works through, well, Huey knows more than anybody else because that's what he's using. But what this does do is allow you to hear the outside of what's going on, which is one of the things that you can do if you use bone induction headphones.
My biggest problem is any earbud just bothers the inside of my ear if I wear it for more than a few minutes. So
I have the same problem. I have a couple of earbuds, and outside of first trying them, they're still sitting in their boxes. So, which is not really nice, but I don't like them.
All right, Huey, selling or giving away your iPad, there are 7 things you should do first.
it's just some instructions. If you're going to sell or give away your iPad, you've got a lot of important data, and you need to know how to clear all of that data off. And this article will tell you what you should do.
Does a factory reset do it all? Do you have to do more than just
You have to sign out a bunch of your accounts first before you do the factory reset.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good idea. If you're going to sell it, yep, for sure.
Or give it to the grandkids, or maybe they're giving you theirs.
Yeah. Bob, this is GM Chevy Bolt EV returns from its fiery recall this spring. Never say never. Now, hold on. Hold on. We just talked about this last Monday, and Dewey said it's finished. Is this
that's why I said never say never. It's coming back. In April they will start making Chevy Bolts again.
Oh, really? Well,
they fixed their problem with the camera, with the batteries, so the fire catching on fire has been solved. So it's back in business. It was a popular model.
Tech news changes quickly, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because Dewey just did a segment on that on Monday. Oh, well, very interesting. A good one, Bob. So did you guys see the Newegg disaster this week?
Yep.
So I got to tell everybody the story on this. Bob, if I'm sure Bob will help me if I don't get it right. So Newegg, of course, is a large seller of hardware devices in the United States, and it's big. I don't know how big it is. If it would be bigger than Best Buy, but it's big, right? And a tech group bought a video card from them, and I'm not sure can't remember the name of the group, but the group is fairly popular and actually has a YouTube following of just under 1.5 million people. They follow this group, right? So they bought this video card from Newegg, and Newegg sent it, but it took forever. So they bought another one from another company. So when the package arrived, they didn't even open it. They just sent it back to Newegg and said, just credit our account. So the package goes back to Newegg. Newegg says to them, it's damaged and we're not going to give you your money back. So they said, well, I never opened it. We just sent it back, right? So Newegg said, I don't care. It's damaged. It doesn't work anymore, and we're not giving your money back. So then they disclosed who they were, right? There was a few videos that came out on their YouTube channel about this, and they disclosed who they were. And of course, Newegg said, oh, we're sorry. We're sorry. You know, we're going to give you your money back, and we'll even send you the original card. You can have it free of charge. And so they sent it all back, and they gave them their money back, of course. And the only reason they did that was because of of course, the under 2 million subscribers to YouTube, right? So when they got the package with the video card, when this group got this card back, it was indeed damaged. In fact, it wasn't a new card. The pins had been damaged. And in the box, there was a repair item that had actually been bought by another person, damaged, sent back to Newegg. Newegg had sent it out to be repaired. The repair item the sticker was in the box, and it was to be sold as an open box repaired item. Whereas, of course, this group had bought it as a new service, right? And new items. So issue of you get something that's being opened box, but as a brand new product. So that raised another thorny issue with Newegg. So, of course, this scandal has been plaguing Newegg, and this, of course, that brought out this article, which they said, "Look, we'll take anything back. Don't just give us another chance, guys." Now, what you may or may not remember, but before Christmas, and maybe you didn't see it because this was in Canada. Best Buy ran into the same problem in Canada, and they got into a big scandal. I don't know if we talked about that or if you guys saw the news on that. One of the problems with these companies is that they actually don't do the work. They actually hire third-party companies to do the contracting and do the shipping and all this isn't done by Newegg. It's done by other companies, and it is sometimes the control of those other companies isn't as it should be, and things get a little out of hand. And the same thing happened to Best Buy in Canada. In other words, it was against their policies, but they were using a third-party company to manage all this, and that's what happened. So I just thought I would bring this up because it was an interesting article. Is that sort of your take on it as well, Bob?
Yeah, well, they had to eat egg.
Yeah,
but we also have to realize that third-party service isn't only when you purchase a product, but if you need third-party or if you need assistance with a software product, that's also usually handled by third parties.
Right.
We've all run into that. And
That's
it
right.
unfortunately always goes back to the actual company whose product you purchased. So,
a little thing about Newegg, just a little history about them. Newegg at one time, and I'm going back probably in the 90s, they were known as Egghead Software.
Yeah.
And they had stores. They had one in Altamont Springs, Florida, as well as in many other places. And they eventually closed their stores, and they've started selling hardware as well as software online, and they changed their name to Newegg instead of Egghead.
Well, they got some egg on their face this time,
But
didn't
they got a lot of egg on their face.
That was a bad one. All right, so this is I think this was the article I put on there, and this was the new Windows 11 update. But what I wanted to talk about was and I wanted Bill's opinion and Bob, and if you guys using Windows 11, this is the Android apps on Windows 11 with the latest update. Have you guys? What do you think? Have you tried it? Have you? What's the scoop on this?
I have downloaded it. I have the latest version of the update that came out on Tuesday, and you have the update because there's been some changes to the taskbar. Particularly, they've put the temperature and widgets to the extreme left of your taskbar. But you can go in and download the Android, they call it a subsystem, and it actually installs the Amazon store where you can then go and get the Android apps. There's not very many, as someone mentioned earlier, there's lots of games.
Yep.
And those sorts of things. I did download a solitaire game, and it works full screen.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't show the size of the phone, but it does show full screen. It's interesting that it can be done. And I'm sure as time goes on, we'll get more Android apps that could be somewhat useful. But uh, Audacity is one that's there, which I think you can download that for Windows. But
Yep, sure can.
and then there is the Kindle app is there.
It's already available without.
And that's available in Windows as well. So I'm not really sure what the duplication means. Wall Street Journal, some of these things you have to have subscriptions to. So like Wall Street Journal, you can download it. And I believe that's a website on the Windows side, but it's an app on the phone side. But but it works.
Interesting.
There's
But
a
I guess
couple
go ahead.
There's a couple of things about that. Number one is you say it's the Amazon store, not the Google Play Store, which is what you have on other devices. So it's getting it from a different place, and so I don't know why that's the way it's working. Whether they couldn't make arrangements with Google itself and they had to go to the Amazon store, or just technically they couldn't make it work. And then the other thing is I was listening to some other podcasts the last day or so, and they're talking about it's mostly games that you can download and use. And the biggest thing that the people were really looking forward to using as the Android apps would be the things for their remote control and their Internet of Things, light bulbs and different pieces of equipment that you can work with your phone, but you can't with your computer. And none of those are available yet.
Right.
Interesting. I guess another reason to use to look at Windows 11 though, because a lot of interesting new things are happening with Windows 11, and not much with Windows 10, I guess.
Well, Windows 11 or Windows in general now has a Linux subsystem. So, and that's basically your Chrome and Android. Those are Linux subsystems.
Indeed.
So it's not that you can't make it work. You just have to work a little harder to get us actual apps that we're interested in.
So I'm pretty sure those are coming.
Yeah. It's exciting. There's lots of really cool stuff happening. Eh? Now, this was an interesting. I just laughed when I saw this morning. As you know, if you've been following us on Hugh and I, when we do our Chromebook session, I'm always taking pictures of my wallpaper, because they have such interesting wallpaper on Chromebooks. And I actually have made and I keep them all in the Google Photos folder and play them, of course, on my TV that you see behind me here. So I was laughing this morning when Chrome Unboxed brought this article out. Someone has taken all has done all of the backgrounds for Chromebooks, for wallpapers, and have put them into a Google Photos album. And you can, and they've shared the album. So if you look at the article, you'll see the link, and you can just go there and join the album. And then you've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of wallpapers for your Chromebook that you can download. And I was just sort of laughed at that, and I thought that was sort of cute, but amazing the number of wallpaper, the amount of wallpaper for your Chromebook.
But you don't only have to use it for Chromebooks. If you download it, you can just use it on your Windows.
Yes,
computer.
Indeed. Indeed. Yep, you can do that. This is a whole article. Interesting. Bob, you've probably been following this as well. This, of course, is Google brings Chrome Privacy Sandbox to Android. And in a nutshell, is that nothing in life is free, and the internet, of course, is driven by advertising, and Google is an advertising agency, as everything is on the internet. It is all supported by advertising. Now, this is, of course, brought up with whole slew of privacy issues, of which everybody's unhappy about tracking and all this stuff. And this is, of course, brought into changing this. And the Apple came along and they changed it. They made some changes in their privacy and how it works. And it wiped out $250 billion of Facebook advertising. So, I mean, that they weren't very happy. Facebook lost $250 billion. Apple just said, no, we're not going to do it. You can't do that. And they said no, and it cost Facebook $250 billion. Now, so Google then was going to come along with, and they brought out this thing called Flock, FLOC. And this was going to be, we talked about this on the show about 6 months ago. This was going to be their new advertising standards. And this was going to not prevent tracking, but it was going to be a different form. And there was such an uproar about that everybody, it never went anywhere. And they have now decided to bring in a new system, and this is called Privacy Sandbox, which you're going to hear more about. I'm not going to go into this now, but just to let everyone know, that's where we're going with this. And this is going to be a new way in which, of course, the advertising people and Google are going to be able to work this, but we're going to be able to have more security and more privacy. Bob, do you have any, I guess there's a lot more coming on this, or do you have any thoughts on that?
There is, and there is already some videos that I've made on this, and of course also Flock. Right. And this is just a continuation. And, you package things in different ways, and the end result is since they're in the advertising business, you're not going to get rid of the advertising. You're just going to have more settings where you, if, and most people won't do this, dig down deep enough, you might be able to turn something off that will prevent some of the advertising to get to you. But for the majority of the people that use the internet, they're still going to make their money, and they're still going to present you with ads.
Now, what is this next article? Something about let's celebrate. My blog is 17 years old. Yeah. What's this all about?
It's just I've been doing blogs for a little while. That's basically all it is.
17 years?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. We should celebrate. Well done, Bob. That's well done.
To be 17 again would be much nicer.
You were a leader in your time 17 years ago. Wow. Crazy. How long have you been podcasting for?
This is not a podcast. This is a blog.
Right. But how long have you been podcasting for?
Podcasting, I don't know, 3-4 years.
3 or 4 years. Okay. Wow. Huey, do we have any more comments that we need to?
Yeah, we got a couple out here.
Yeah, we only got 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
George, Best Buy problem shown on CBC Market. Problem was with third-party sellers of refurbished. That's right. Yeah, wasn't Best Buy's problem, but of course Best Buy is selling it, so it looks not so good on them. Richard says we had them in California. I used Egghead and Newegg a lot, but haven't used them for a while. Yeah, they're not in Canada, so I've never done that. PayPal support is third-party and primarily offshore call centers. It is a circuitous process to get super located on our continent and be able to solve more complex problems.
Yep.
Indeed. And Windows, Richard says, Windows really doesn't like Chrome, and I'm one who likes Chrome, so I haven't installed Windows 11 yet. Yes, Richard says, I use ad blocker and I don't get many ads at all. I don't know I don't use ad blocker. What do you, Bob? What's with ad blocker?
I prefer uBlock Origin. Mm-hmm. It seems to do a much better job.
Right.
Yeah, I've been using ad blocker for a while, and
there's also ad blocker Plus. So
yeah, I think that's the one I use.
Yeah,
and it's forever blocking. The website will say you got an ad blocker, or we're not going to show you the article unless you turn it off. So I turn it off just for that article.
Okay. Well, it's top of the hour. I want to thank everyone that's been watching, listening, or future people who are going to listen to our podcast, because this, of course, will be out on a podcast. I want to thank everyone for all you who are listening and that came to listen to us today. Thank you so much. I want to thank Bill James for being our special guest today. It's always a pleasure, Bill, having you on the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
You always have something interesting to talk about. And for those of you who aren't aware, Bill has a regular our session in our Tuesday newsletter. But we publish 2 newsletters a week, one on Tuesday and one on Saturday. And Bill has his own segment in our Tuesday newsletter, and always has an interesting topic about gadgets. So if you haven't, just go over to www.techforsenior.com and you can sign up for the newsletter, and you'll learn all about his great gadgets. I don't know where you get all these gadgets from, but you do a good job.
Ron, I gotta differ with you. You find out where they're from, because you got most of them as well, and other ones besides.
We all get
we all do.
We all get tempted.
Well, that's because we really love technology, right? That's why we're here. That's why we're here having a good time, just sitting talking about technology for an hour. Who else would do that, right?
We have lots of technology, not much of anything else, but lots of technology.
And for the fellow that was saying he doesn't like, I can't remember, he was talking about Chrome and Windows, but there is a way you can download Edge for your Chromebook now. So, as a matter of fact,
that's a really oxymoron. Like, why would anybody want to download Edge on a Chromebook?
If you're I use Windows. I mean, I use Edge in Windows all the time, so it's nice to have Edge synced with my Edge on my PC.
I, for one, can't join this show properly unless I'm using Edge, because on Chrome, I can't get my camera to work. Don't ask me why. I don't know. Probably too many extensions, and I'm too lazy to go through and one by one eliminate to find out which one is causing it. But it works fine in Edge. So,
all right. Well, listen, it's 2 minutes after. We've got to go. Thank you, everyone, for coming. We will see you same time, same place next week. And don't forget to watch the 100th episode on Monday. We have a really good show for you. It's going to be lots of fun. So come and watch on Monday. And until then, have a great week. All right. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
bye.